Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to our 71st BHE virtual seminar. BHE's virtual seminar is a platform that allows healthcare professionals to discuss current management updates of different health-related topics for better patient care. And this platform is brought to you by BHE Ethiopia in partnership with Ethiopian Society of Hematology and Oncology. BHE Ethiopia is a medical consultancy company founded by medical doctors and a computer engineer, and going to be an influential healthcare leader in creating a skilled community through easily accessible knowledge and preventive medicine. And I'm your host, Dr. Yanot Adela, a general physician and first aid trainer from BHE Ethiopia. Today, it's a pleasure having Dr. Kedir Hussein here with us to have a seminar on the title, A Winning Grant Proposal and Project Implementation. For those of you who don't know Dr. Kedir, he has over 14 years of experience in data science and research. He completed his PhD in biostatistics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning from Near East University. He currently serves as a researcher at Frontier Consult and holds the position of Assistant Professor of Biostatistics and Health Informatics at Medawlab University. He worked as a research assistant and registry coordinator at the American Cancer Society project, Addis Ababa Cancer Registry. And he is also a research consultant. He was also a research consultant at the Technology and Innovation Institute of Ethiopia. He is recognized as a reviewer and editor for various reputable journals. He has over 50 published papers and was also involved in over 50 grants and had a history of winning and managing 10 grants. Dr. Kedir, the stage is all yours. You can start.
Thank you so much, all. The host, the organizers of this session, BHE Ethiopia, the Ethiopian Society of Hematology and Oncology. Thank you all. So my presentation will be on a winning grant proposal and project implementation. So I'm Kedir Hussein Abegaz. Currently, I'm working as a research fellow at Frontier Consult here in Ethiopia. So directly, I jump into the outline of the presentation. So as an outline for a specific presentation, we will see the introduction part, what is the grant proposal, and in what circumstance are we going to write these proposals. And we will see also the 11 components of grant proposal, 14 common types of grant proposal, the 15 steps to write grant proposal, and another 15 common reasons why our proposals are rejected by different funder organizations, and the 8 common types of bids or types of requests for proposals. And finally, we will see the 15 steps to project implementation. So as an introduction, I will start by defining what the grant proposal is. This grant proposal is a formal document as of other different proposals. This will be submitted to a potential funding organization with the aim of securing financial support for a specific project, program, or initiative. So its main objective is securing financial support from funding organizations. This is a crucial tool carry out projects and initiatives that might not otherwise be possible due to financial constraints. That's why we are writing different technical proposals. We do have an idea. We might have also different project ideas. At this time, if we do have different financial constraints, there are a funder organization who support financially for our idea. At this moment, they will call up with different requests for proposals and call for applications. At this moment, we will write different proposal type. So one of this is grant proposal. So entities often use grant proposals to request funding from government agencies, from foundations, corporations, or other philanthropic sources. These entities might be non-profit organizations, researchers might be write grant proposal, educational institutions may write grant proposal, associations and other entities may write grant proposal to request funding from different organizations. So having saying this about grant proposal, we will see the components of grant proposal. So grant proposal typically includes several common components. In fact, we do have some different specific requirements based on the funder's guideline. However, the following are often found in many grant proposals. So as a first, the grant proposal will have a title page and then an executive summary about the overall work or overall concept of that proposal. We will have an introduction. We will have also the project description, the budget breakdown. I'm sorry. Sometimes we call it the financial proposal, and there is also organizational information. There is a methodology, the evaluation plan, the sustainability plan of that specific project, the conclusion, and at the end we will attach the supporting documents of, for example, the curriculum vitae, the letter of intent, and the experience of the organization, and so on. So we will see these 11 components one by one. So the title page. So in the title page, we will put the project title. Sometimes the client will release the request for proposal, or sometimes we call it terms of reference. So based on that terms of reference, if the title is boldly written in that request for proposal, directly we took that project title in our grant proposal. Rather, if it is allowable and open to craft our title, we can suggest a project title. And applicant organization's name, the contact information, the funder's name, and the submission date or the deadline of the submission will be included in the title page as an executive summary. Sometimes we call it abstract. Anyhow, the brief overview of the project will be put here. The goals and objectives of the grant proposal and amount of funding requested will be summarized in this session. So in the introduction part, we will write the background information about the organization. Don't forget, this organization is a funding organization. So we will, for example, if that organization is USAID, we will discuss about USAID, some points in the area where this organization is engaged, and so on, and statement of the problem. So here in the statement of the problem, we will mention what is expected in that specific case or scenario, and what is the reality at hand regarding this scenario, and the difference between what is expected and what is in reality is known as problem. So we should to show them this statement of the problem in the summarized version. So in another terminology, this is the need that the project addresses. And the context of the proposed project will also be included in the introduction part. So as a first, the detailed, that is project description. Now here we will explain the detail of the project here, the goals and objective, the methodology and approach, and the expected outcomes. Here in the goals and objectives, for example, if the project is 5 years objective, there is a 5 years project, there is objective of the project, and if this 5 years project is split in, for example, a yearly based different assignments, there is also some specific objectives for this different assignments or tasks of this big project. So many grant proposal writers are unable to differentiate the project objective and the assignment objective. So at this moment, we should clearly understand and mention the goal of the project at the end and the specific objectives of each assignments. In the methodology and approach part, we sometimes the request for proposal mentioned or suggest their methodology. If they mentioned we will apply this, we can directly take that one. If not, as a professional or as a consultant, we suggest the methodology or the appropriate methodology for that specific assignment. And there are also theory of change for different projects, and then we will look also that terms of, that theory of change, and will link to the current assignment that we are going to write this grant proposal. And we can write the expected outcome in the project description part. So as a budget, don't forget the budget is the main reason for rejection if it is done without care and without a line item budgeting. That is, in the budget, some organizations, funding organization, may request the budget proposal, or they call it financial proposal, as a separate document. Sometimes they request as a single document with the main technical proposal. Anyhow, this in the budget section, we will put the detailed breakdown of the project cost. For example, if we do have different professionals, the cost for professionals. If we do have a field activity, for that field activity. If we are going to pay for a data analyst, we also clearly mention this breakdown. We call it line item budgeting, and how these funds will be allocated for different tasks. Sometimes if they request as budget justification, we can explain why this budget is supposed to or proposed for this assignment. And as a sixth, organizational information. This is the applicant's organization, the mission and history of the applicant organization. What is our mission? What is our organization's history regarding the similar assignments activity that we are going to write this grant proposal? The previous experience with similar projects, the qualification of key personnel. If the assignment is, for example, on HIV, we have to select qualified personnel who have ample experience on HIV and related assignments, and so on. If they request a biostatistician, we should find and appoint the statistician for that assignment, and so on. As a seventh, the methodology part. This part is maybe many proposals have screened and rejected. So in the methodology part, as I said earlier, if the request for proposal mentioned the methodology part, clearly we will adopt that one. If not, we can suggest the appropriate methodology as a consultant. So here in the methodology part, we will present a detailed plan for project implementation. So from initiation up to the project closure. Timeline with key milestones or major objectives which is need to be achieved at the end of the project. The roles and responsibility of project team members. So in team members, there might be a team leader who leads that assignment. There might be a project manager, there might be a field coordinator, data analyst, office level field manager, and there might be also the field data collector. So the responsibility and role of this project team member also mentioned in the methodology part. We can also put the evaluation plan, the criteria for assessing project success, the metric and indicator for measuring outcome. This is mainly we use at monitoring and evaluation level, and the methods of data collection and analysis. So as we know, we do have a primary source of data and secondary source of data. We might choose the appropriate methodology for this, whether it is for quantitative data collection or for qualitative, or by observation or by checklist and so on. We clearly mentioned this one and what types of analysis are we going to do when the data has collected and came for analysis part. So at this moment, we usually use to prepare the analysis plan before the data is collected, and then we clean the variables based on this, and then we will collect the field staff will collect the data, and so this all the steps will be included here, and the sustainability plan. So if the project lifespan is, for example, for 5 years, and for example, if it is for 10 years, then we'll craft strategies for ensuring the project's impact continues beyond the grant period, and plan for continued funding or support. So as a conclusion, summary of key points of that proposal, possible statement emphasizing the project's significance and the need for funding. This will be included in the conclusion part. So as a final point in the components of grant proposal is attachment. This is the key point, while many grant writers are not understand this point, which is attachment point. We call it support document. For example, letter of support, resume of key personnels, or we can call it curriculum vitae of key personnels, organizational chart, and other relevant materials. For example, if the request for proposal mentioned if any organization, if the applicant organization is interesting to apply for this project, it needs to have like 5 similar experience. But if this organization don't have like 5 assignments before, it will be directly cancelled. Rather, if we do have enough personnel, we can apply if that personnel is suitable for that assignment, and so on. So we need to check every step of the requirement from the request for proposal. So overall, we need to think points. It's essential to carefully review the terms of reference or request for proposal before we wrote the grant proposal. So mainly when we read the request for proposal, and we will have appreciation session or understanding of these terms of reference. So we will understand, and we will have similar idea, and then we decide to write this proposal. So in every step, we will agree. In the introduction part, the funding organization is interested to see this point, and then accordingly we have to write like this. In the methodology part, the funder organization needs this methodology, and then we will arrange based on this criteria and so on. So we need to see carefully the terms of reference or the request for proposal. It should be well written, clear and concise. It demonstrates organization's capacity. So these points are components of grant proposal. So I will proceed to the common types of grant proposal. There is a research grant proposal, there is a project grant proposal, there is operating, matching, government capital for capacity building, program development, endowment, the seed money, the corporate, emergency and disaster relief, the scholarship and fellowship foundation. For this, all kinds of assignments we can write the grant proposal, or to secure a financial support from different funding organizations for this assignments. So we can see one by one. Project grant is simply seeking a fund for a specific project or program. We might have a project idea, but we don't have a budget constraint, and then we can direct request the funders, or the funder might release the call for proposal, and then we apply for funding. Operating grant, that is funding to cover organizations' ongoing operational activity. For example, for if the organization have a problem to pay salaries, for rent, for utility costs, and so on. Research grant, that is seek funding for scientific or academic research. This is usually what researchers and academicians from different universities wrote. And the capacity building grant is aimed to strengthen the organizational capacity, staff training, for infrastructure improvement, for development of and so on. We call it this capacity building grant. Seed grant, we call it startup money sometimes. So small grants provided to start new projects or initiatives. Matching grant, this is securing finance or a portion of the funding from other sources, but the funding organization match the amount raised or the missed amount. The capital grant is also another types of grant. This fund acquisition, construction, renovation of physical assets, such as building equipment, infrastructure. If we're interested to secure a grant for this kind of activities, we call it capital grant. And scholarship and fellowship grants, or financial support to individuals, such as this individual might be student, researchers, or artists, to pursue their academic and creative endeavors. The program development grant support the planning and development of new programs or initiatives to address specific needs or gaps. Emergency or disaster relief grants also, this is securing or requesting a fund to provide rapid funding to organizations responding to sudden crises, disasters, or emergencies. Endowment grant contribute to organizations' long-term financial sustainability by establishing or growing an endowment fund. And the government grant provided by government agencies to fund various projects and programs that align with government priority and objectives. The foundation grants are provided by private non-profit foundations to support various causes and initiatives. And finally, the corporate grant provided by business and corporations to support projects that align with their corporate social responsibility goals. So these are the common types of grant proposals. We might have different different types, but the common ones are this one. So steps to write a grant proposal. So here in grant proposal requires a systematic approach to clearly articulate the research project, its significance, objective, methodology, and expected outcomes. Here we call it systematic because we start from the initiation, a kickoff meeting, up to the end of So here, the first step, we should to identify the opportunity, or we should to hunt the request for proposals. In the big firms like the organization that I'm working, we do have a different separate team who is engaged in hunting of this request for proposals. And then they will select the request for proposals which align with the experience of our organization, and then Yeah, every organization is doing like this. And then once we decide to write a proposal based on that request for proposal, the next step is we will appreciate that, and then after the appreciation, we will take the responsibility to write the grant proposal. And then at that moment, we will craft a title and abstract. As I told you earlier, if the title of that assignment is clearly mentioned in the request proposal, we will do that one. Rather, we will craft title and abstract. In the introduction part, I have already mentioned what points to include in the introduction part, and then we will write the introduction, the literature review, the objectives and hypothesis. If there is a hypothesis there, we will put, rather we will mention the objective. Don't forget objective for the project and objective for that specific assignment. There is also a technical approach. This is many grant proposals be selected for or chosen to have funding. So if our methodology is robust, yeah, they clearly support us the financial side, and then we technically put these things mainly in the, we do have theory of change for specific projects. So that theory of change shows the impact of that project, or what kind of impact will happen after this project is accomplished successfully. So we will clearly mention the technical approach and methodology. We will put also the expected outcome and impact. We will clearly put the activities timeline. In fact, the timeline and the budget, the timeline and the period of that project is mentioned in the request for proposal. Usually why they did is this is a 3 months assignment, and then we will divide this time based on activities. The budget or the financial proposal, yeah, they need a line by line financial proposal. For example, for the team leader, we will pay the daily per diem like this, and so on. For this amount of days, amount of money for this number of days. And finally, we will pay this amount for the team leader, for the data analyst, for the project manager, for the field coordinator, and so on. So we will clearly put also the research team and expertise. Sometimes we put short summary about that research team. Sometimes we will attach the curriculum vitae and the evaluation and dissemination plan. Sometimes some organizations may need the collected data, the result from that data, the conclusion and recommendation. Sometimes they need also policy brief. And some organizations like World Bank, they need only the data. They don't want to have a report from the consultant. They only need the data by itself. So we will follow the guideline, what kind of assignments we should execute. And then we put reference and citation we use for that. Proofreading, editing. Different organization, including my organization, has chief editors who are engaged in proofreading and editing of the language and other structural arrangements. So in that specific organization, there are a lot of experts with a good English, with poor English, with moderate English, and so on. So if they are technically fit for that assignment, they will write that technical proposal. At the end, the proofreading and editing section will take the responsibility to correct the English. And timely submissions also a good thing for to secure funding and follow up the progress. Sometimes the funding organization may forget, and then our business development or our relation department will follow the progress of that technical proposal that we wrote before. So these are some steps to write our grant proposal. And again, common reasons of rejection of our grant proposal. So the grant proposal can be rejected for various reasons, and it's important to understand the common factors that may contribute to rejection. The first one is not following the guideline. Or if we wrote the technical proposal without following the request for proposal, it can be rejected. Lack of alignment with objectives. Yeah, to be frank, there are some grant writers who cannot differentiate the objective of the project and the objective of the assignment. So if the client needs the objective of the assignment and we wrote the objective of the project, yeah, it can be easily rejected. Weak problem statement. If we do not state the reality regarding that specific assignment and what's expected from that project, and we should also articulate the difference between the reality and the expected. So this is what they need simply, and poorly defined methodology. As I told you, you should have personnel or expertise who have good experience in writing methodology by understanding the terms of reference. So if the funder thinks our methodology is poor, they can easily reject it. Inadequate budget, or sometimes they call it unjustifiable budget. So if that is the case, they will easily reject. Insufficient organization's capacity. If the funder organization needs organizations with 5 and more years of experience, but if our organization is only 2 years old organization, so this might be insufficient. And sometimes the organization is engaged in health sector, but what they need is in a business sector. At this moment, our capacity in business is different, so they can easily reject. Inadequate evaluation plan, the poor writing and presentation. Yeah, that's why the proofreading and editing department of section is important here, because as usual, our English is sometimes poor, so the experts who have a good experience in writing English language has to be engaged in that proposal. Over promising. Sometimes we may over promise, but our real experience tells different, and then they can be easily rejected. Failure to address risk assessment. Sometimes in the proposal we should mention the risk assessment and the mitigation strategies. So if we fail to address this, it can be easily rejected. Unrealistic timeline. For example, if the project needs 5 months, and if we say I will finish this assignment with 2 months, this might be unrealistic for them, so they can easily reject. Incomplete supporting documents. So in the document, if they need credentials, we should submit the credentials. If they need letter of intent, we should submit that one. If they need the license of the organization, we should attach this. So if any component of this document missed, it can be easily rejected. The last minute submission may be reason for rejection. Lack to submit timely, and lack of collaboration or partnership might be a reason for rejection. So these are the reasons for rejection of our grant proposal. So common types of grant proposal or grant application, or we call it bid. Many of us is not aware of bid or what is grant application. So in the grant application, we do have different requests. When seeking to secure a grant, organizations typically submit proposals or application in response to specific types of bids or funding opportunities. So different funders or different funding organization may release a call, for example, request for proposal, request for application, request for quotation, letter of inquiry, expression of interest, invitation to bid, competitive grant program, and associated proposals. So different organizations may call their call for proposal in these different scenarios, and we can see one by one. The request for proposal is a formal document issued by the funding organizations or released by the funding organizations, outlining the detail of specific project or program they want to fund. So they will request for proposals. They will release as a call, and then based on this request proposal, we will develop our grant proposal. And if the organization released a request for application, it is a solicitation formal from a funding agency inviting organizations to submit for specific. So at this point, the funding organizations will invite the applicant organizations, and then based on that invitation, we will submit our proposal. Request for quotation is a document that solicits quotations or bids for specific goods and service. Sometimes it's not always applicable for grants in research grants specifically. So mainly we use request for proposal and request for applications. There are also letter of inquiry. It's a brief and preliminary letter expressing organization's interest in a funding opportunity. So they will invite us to express our interest, and if the funding organization found our letter of inquiry is interested, they might invite us to submit a full proposal. In the expression of interest, we will also express our interest to write that grant proposal, but if the funder finds this expression of interest promising, they invite us to submit a more detailed proposal. And there is also invitation to bid, is a formal invitation to submit a bid for a specific project or service. There is also competitive grant program. It's a competitive grant program. Funding organizations announce the availability of funds for a specific purpose. So any interested organization in securing the grant must submit a competitive proposal. So we will compete in with different grant writers. If our proposal outshine or outperform, they will give us the funding. And unsolicited proposal, as some funding organization accept solicited proposal where organizations submit project idea without specific invitation. So if we do have an idea, we will write that proposal, and if we think one organization is suitable to fund that specific assignment, we will go to that organization and request them to give us funding. So these all are different types of bids. So we can hand our requests for proposal or call for proposals from these 8 types of grant applications or bids, and we can develop our proposal based on these requests. So the project implementation. So having seen about the grant proposal, I directly move to the project implementation part. This part is involves a careful consideration of various factors to ensure that the project meets its objective, it's delivered on time, within scope, and within budget. Key points to consider during project management and implementation. So once we have a request for proposal and wrote a grant proposal and secure funding, so the next step will be the initiation. So at the initiation step, we do have a kickoff meeting, or sometimes we call it a startup meeting. So this is the meeting between the funding organization team and the applicant organization team. So we do have a research team from organization, the funding organization. We do have also a project team from applicant organization. So these two teams will have a kickoff meeting, or they call it a start meeting, that specific assignment. So this we call it initiation. So at this stage, after a kickoff meeting, we should prepare the inception report. That is the how-to guide for that specific assignment. And after that, we will prepare a thorough planning, a detailed plan for every specific assignment. And then stakeholder engagement, we should select our stakeholders from the community, from the funder side organizations, from the intervention area, from different organizations. And then we should participate these stakeholders. A competent project team. So in the project implementation, we should assign the competent or the right personnel for that specific assignment. The team leader, the project manager, the data analyst, the field coordinator, even the field data collectors has to align or has to have an experience for that specific assignment. Effective leadership is a good thing here. A communication plan, we should have a clear communication plan between the funding organization and the applicant organization, or the project coordinator from both sides. The change management, if something worse is happening during the project, we should have another mechanism for change management. The quality assurance, the risk management, as I told you, we should have risk management and mitigation strategies, the adaptability and flexibility. Sometimes the funding organization may ask to add some areas to cover, or it may change the scope. At that moment, we should be flexible. Monitoring and controlling, we should have and monitoring and evaluation. Step, resource management. Yeah, this is clearly aligned with the funding. So we should have, we have secured specific amount of money for that specific project, and then we should break down that budget also with different tasks accordingly. So we should accomplish that specific task with the assigned money, and the client or user involvement, the knowledge transfer, maybe after the data has collected and the result is written, and we might have a conclusion and recommendation. So we can develop our recommendation. Sometimes we prepare also a policy brief if the client is interested to publish that result. Rather, we will stop there. As I told you, there are some organizations need only the data. Some organizations need until the result part. Some organizations may be interested to see until the recommendation part. Some organizations also interested to have a policy brief from client side. So we will do, or we will execute every assignment based on the interest of all, or the interest of our funding organization. So in the initiation or in the kickoff meeting, it involves formally starting the project, securing necessary approvals and mobilizing the project team. So during initiation, the project goal, the objectives, the scope, and every activity or every task that the client needs should be clearly transferred to the project team or the team. So both the funder side research team and the applicants side research team have equal knowledge about that assignment, and then after that they will go to planning. So in the planning, they will develop detailed project plan, the tasks, milestones, the timeline for specific tasks, the timeline for specific milestones, and resource requirements for that specific assignment should be planned. In the stakeholder engagement, so it identifies and engages key stakeholders early in the project, communicate regularly with stakeholders to keep them informed and address their concern. So in the competent project team, we should assemble a skilled and well-balanced project. The team leader has to be the right person for that specific project. The data analyst has to be the right person for such kind of assignment, and so on. Clearly define the roles and responsibilities within the team. So the team leader has this responsibility, and he should deliver this assignment. The project manager's responsibility is this one, and then he has to submit based on the assignment assigned for him. The effective leadership is also a core in the project implementation and project management. We should provide strong and effective leadership throughout the project. You know, for example, if the project lifespan is 20 days, we should plan a daily plan for all specific tasks, and then the first day we should deliver this one, and the second, the third, the fourth, and so on. So we should monitor every day whether that assigned assignment is completed or delivered or not. So at this moment, effective leadership matters. We should foster a positive team culture. By default, this consultancy in the project is a tough environment at that moment. Positive team culture and motivating team members is a good thing. Communication plan, we should develop a comprehensive communication plan that outlines the channels, frequency, and stakeholders involved in the communication. So we usually use to assign one project coordinator from the consultant side and one project manager or project coordinator from the client or the funder side, and then they communicate at large, and then the project coordinator at consultant side will distribute every information for the team member, and the same is true from the client side. Ensure transparency and open communication among team members and stakeholders. So at this point, every team member has to have equal knowledge about that specific project. In the meantime, if one individual missed from that, we will replace, and the clear communication. We usually used to have one email group for one project. So every right person will include in that email, and every activity and every assignment of or every information about the project will be through that communication panel, and then everyone will have equal understanding of that project. And change management, anticipate and plan for potential change in project scope, requirement, and objectives. Sometimes the client may add one objective. At that moment, we should be flexible, and we should have a change management, implement effective change management process to handle changes. Quality assurance, establish a quality standard for project deliverable. Maybe after this point, I will say something about quality assurance. Implement process for quality assurance, regularly assess. Some organizations have their own quality assurance mechanism, so they will apply that. Risk management, yeah, we should write clearly the risk management and mitigations. So continuously we'll identify, assess, and manage risks throughout the project. Before we deploy our field staffs, we should assess the areas, the intervention areas that our field is going to collect data, and then if everything is fine, we will deploy our team to have data in that specific intervention area. Rather, we will have a change management. Develop contingency plan for high impact risks. Yeah, this especially these days, if the security issue is not well or not good in that specific area, we should change to the safest area and collect data if in need of time for that specific project. So adaptability and flexibility is also another important point in project implementation. Should be prepared to adopt a plan based on the changing circumstances. Foster a culture of flexibility and agility within the project team. Monitoring and controlling, sometimes we call it monitoring and evaluation. This is regularly monitor the project progress against the plan. Implement controls to ensure that project stays on a track. So the right person for this is the project manager. So he is usually controlling and monitoring the daily activity of the field staff and the office level activities. The resource management is also another point. Efficiently allocate and manage project resources, including the personnel payment, finances, expenses for materials, for training, for data analysis, for external consultants, and so on. And adjust resource allocation as needed to address changing project requirements. And the client or user involvement. Involve end users or clients in the project process. Some organizations may request us even the real-time synchronization. At that moment, we allow them, we will give them the login address for the data, and they will follow every data while synchronized in the server or in the database. So regularly update clients on the project progress. We usually update our clients every Friday about the progress, what kind of activities are done in the past week. So every Friday we can send them, or you can choose every other day for updating your client, or you can give real-time synchronization. I mean, they can follow every moment, every hour. And knowledge transfer, document lessons learned throughout the project will be considered as knowledge transfer. I mean, if the previous project was successful, we take lessons from that assignment. And if that project is not completed with the assigned or with allocated time, and we will also learn the challenges encountered in that specific project, and we'll prepare for the next project based on that lessons. And finally, we will have a project closure and evaluation. We will conduct a formal project closure, including a review of achievement and challenge, evaluate the project success against initial key performance indicators. So these are the points in project implementation, but more practically, we can see these three phases in project management. Before implementation, we should to have the inception report preparation. This is mandatory because it's the how-to guide for overall assignment. We will have a survey plan when how many data collectors, how many team members will be included in that assignment, and when the team will be deployed to the field, and with how many days will this team members or data collects will collect the data, and how many interviews per day will our data collectors conduct. And so this level, the survey plan will be prepared, and the actual working budget will also be prepared for every activity. We should to have also tool translation and programming. Some organizations may provide us the tool, or some organization may request us to prepare the tool or the questionnaire for that specific assignment. So if they give us the English version, we should to translate to the local language, and we also program to the CAPI and CATI, that's computer assisted telephone interview and computer assisted personal interview. If that is telephone, we can use CATI, and if that is phone in personal, we call it CAPI. And yeah, sometimes there are different softwares for this. We can use Survey Solution, Survey CTO. We are familiar about ODK, CISPro, and so on. So we can use one of them as deemed as necessary or based on the client's interest. If, for example, World Bank needs a survey solution, and then we will prepare using survey solution. If the USID is interested to see the programming with CISPro, we will prepare with CISPro, and so on. Training, piloting, and debriefing. So we will train the field staff, we will pilot, or we will order to the field staff do a piloting, like 1 or 2 interviews, and we will see what kind of challenge do the programming the questionnaire has, and then this all will be cleared in the debriefing session. There is also field operation and route plan. So, for example, if the assignment is in 4 zones and different 10 woredas, so which team is going to move to which zone, and which woreda will be conducted first, and so on. We will prepare these things, the communication management. So these all activities will be completed before the implementation of the field activity. And during the implementation, this will be field data collection. So in the field data collection, after our assessment whether that area is safe to collect the data collection or not, we will deploy if the area is safe, and then they will collect the data. At this moment, nowadays, the data is collected through the tablets using different softwares, and they simply collect the data there in the remote area, and they sync or synchronize the data into office level server. So our office level data manager will assess every information, even the GPS location where the data is collected, even if single interviewer is collect the data from the right person or not. So we will track this one with the real-time synchronization. So during implementation, we will have data quality assurance. So, for example, we can make a callback when the data collector collects the data and go to his the next interview. So the supervisor will check by calling back to that interviewee, and there is also a back check, and mainly we do have real-time synchronization. We are controlling all the data collection activity at office level, and field reporting also conducted. If there is a challenge in the first day during the data collection, the data collectors will report to their supervisor, and the supervisor will report to the office level manager, and so on. And then if the field activity has completed, the data is collected, so the next step will be after field activity, the data cleaning step, the analysis and report. So mainly the data science team or the data management team will handle the data cleaning and analysis part, and the core team or the team leader and the project managers will participate on report writing. Finally, the client experience and learning session will be prepared, and what lessons could we learn from the published project, and so on. Yeah, thank you so much. This is what I have for today. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Kedir. I guess we can move on to the question and answer session. So Participants, if you have anything that you'd love to ask Dr. Kedir, please write down your questions in the Q&A sections. There was already one posted question that you're presenting. I can read it to you. It says, can you suggest any key websites and organizations to follow for healthcare grants? It was by Ashnafi Zalala.
Yeah. So in fact, there are different websites, but the problem is some of them are with subscription and some of them are for free. So, for example, we can mention development aid, that is with subscription. Yeah, there is also DevX, that's also with subscription, and we can check also the ETIOjobs, tomercato.com, and so on for free, and the DevX and development aid are for, yeah, they are accessible with subscription.
As a junior grant applicant, one, do funders consider our application equivalent to senior applicants? And the next question is it mandatory to have a preliminary data in a grant application? So two questions. One, do funders consider junior grant applicants equivalent to senior applicants?
Yeah, I think this is based on the requirement that's written in the request for proposal. If they need experienced organizations, like a 5 years old organization, if our organization is below that, that is, I think, it's impossible. They can easily reject in the screening stage. Yeah, I think this is what I have.
Okay. So the next question is it mandatory to have a preliminary data in grant application?
No, still it's based on the request for proposal, because if they need a similar experience, for example, some organizations mentioned at least 5 that they need an organization who have at least 5 similar experiences, or an organization who conducted 5 similar assignments before. If this is written in the request for proposal, I think they will prefer those proposals that meet the criteria. Rather, they may consider, we don't know.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to the next question by Danite. Thanks for the great presentation. It was very informative. And my question is, should the project be initiated with the former team, or the leader can commence it and later let the team members join?
Yeah, I mean, some requests for proposal mention they need a team leader, they need a data manager and project manager. If they need 3 individuals for that specific assignment, we will arrange credential for these 3 individuals, and then we will attach in the support document. Rather, at office level, for our internal management, we can assign anyone. But for the requirement to win that project, I think we should select individuals who can fulfill the criteria that's mentioned in the request for.
Okay, thank you very much. So another question is, I was wondering if you would say something about hypothesis development for interventional study.
Yeah, in fact, this might be out of scope, but hypothesis, we do have different types of hypothesis. We usually have null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Some books mention they have 7 types of hypothesis. Anyhow, if the objective of that project or that intervention is to see there is some change. We usually use to write the negative statement in that hypothesis. For example, if our intervention might cause a change or improving change, so we will write in the null hypothesis the intervention will not have a change, and then as alternative we will write intervention will have an effect or will have an improvement. And then finally the objective of the researcher is to reject the null hypothesis, that is the negative statement stated in the null hypothesis. And then if the analysis becomes significant, whether it is by the calculated and tabulated value or whether by p-value, and then if that statement is rejected, that is reject the null hypothesis, we will accept the.
So when you mentioned types of grant proposal, what is the difference between project grant and seed grant?
Yeah, we usually say seed grant, that is for startup of the project. But the project grant might be already the started project. This is the main difference. So the project may include the seed grant or may not include the seed grant, because some funding organizations may be interested to continue the project already initiated by different organizations. So we call it, this is project grant. But if we want to initiate a new project, we need a money for that. We call it a seed grant. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thank you very much, Doctor. On behalf of Blue Hills Ethiopia and all our participants, we would like to thank you for taking the time to present on such an important topic. It was a very clear and informative session that we had today. Thank you very much, Doctor, and we hope to see you in the future with other related topics as well. And we also would love to ask Ethiopian Society of Hematology and Oncology for the collaboration in previous seminars as well as today's seminar and for the future as well. So Dr. Kedir, if you have anything that you would love to address, at last, let me give you the chance one more time.
Yeah, so I don't have anything to say and anything to add. I don't want to take much of your time. So I just to appreciate the Blue Health Ethiopia and Ethiopian Society of Hematology and Oncology to having me for this presentation. And I thank you so much, all the participants. To be frank, I saw a lot of participants or listeners for this presentation. I'm really happy for this. So the reason for this is the Blue Health Ethiopia and ESHO. I thank you so much again. Have a good time.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And we hope in the future, maybe as a Blue Health also, maybe we can do work on a project or something. And also we will be, it would be nice to have you back here with another topic maybe.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Have a good time all.
All right. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.